To Kill a Mockingbird, Chapter 2. This is the video number 12. Little review, right? First question, what's the difference between writing and printing? Be careful. Answer? Well, printer is not that you use a print, right? Printer is when you write something, but we usually say print, using non-cursive letters, right? Question, what is an open-faced sandwich? Answer, well, it's a sandwich where you just have the first bread, you don't have the one that closes the sandwich, right? Question, what did I, Thiago, used to do when I was a child related to this vocabulary? Answer, well, I'm not completely sure that I said last class, but I loved to have open-faced sandwiches with the bread, margarine, and sugar on top of that. Very similar to the one, our narrator had. With the difference, of course, that hers is better because I didn't know butter at the time and I didn't know how much better butter is than sugar. And I think my mom and dad wouldn't buy butter, they were so used to margarine. And let me see. Question. If you have a good penmanship, what could you work with? Answer? Well, I think it's not very common to find a profession where they value this kind of ability, right? Remember, your calligraphy is very beautiful if you have a good penmanship. Or a penmanship. I don't know, you could work, at the supermarket, writing the prices, what else? Writing could be customized invitations, invitations that wouldn't be printed, invitations for like high society, weddings and birthdays, You would write the invitation and then there would be a small note there saying this invitation was not printed, I don't know. Well, let's go back to our story. I seldom pleased her and she seldom rewarded me. Of course, we're talking about how Calpurnia taught our narrator how to write, Everybody who goes home to lunch, hold up your hands, said Miss Caroline, breaking into my new grudge against Calpurnia. Remember that when you have a grudge, I put there in our Quizlet, you have a resentment. And this is a question I actually have to ask you. So Miss Caroline, because she mentioned lunch, she solved the grudge our narrator had with Calpurnia. It means that she doesn't have a grudge anymore? Answer. No, actually, she has the grudge. She still has the grudge. But the thing is, she interrupted on her, thinking it over, hating Calpurnia. Everybody who goes home to lunch, hold up your hands. Remember, we are in the United States, so kids study, most kids study not only in the morning, but up to, the end of the afternoon. Let's say up to 4 o'clock, right? So, people would have to hold up their hands if they would go home to have lunch instead of having lunch in there at school. The town children did so, and she looked us over. Everybody who brings his lunch put it on top of his desk. Molasses buckets appeared from nowhere, and the ceiling danced with metallic light. Well, first, I think molasses, all right, or molasses is important. This I put a picture there. Of course, it's not very common for us, or at least I have never tried. Let me see. Have I ever tried molasses? I think I have never tried it in my life, but it's very easy to imagine the taste. You know, what is it? It's thick brown syrup made from raw sugar, meaning sugar before it is refined. Okay, so it is molasses. I think here in Brazil, maybe from the same product, we made what is it called? Here in Brazil, it's called rapadura, right? But of course, we dry it up, you know, and then it's hard, right? But I think it must be something like that. And then of course we're not familiar with molasses buckets, but of course it must be small cans made of metal, right? So imagine that, okay? Molasses buckets appeared from nowhere, and the ceiling danced with metallic light. Question: was there a special kind of lighting on the ceiling? Answer: no. Of course, if everybody had buckets made of metal, right? Of course, and the sun is entering the room. Of course, the sun would hit the cans there and would reflect to the ceiling. So one more time, molasses buckets appeared from nowhere, and the ceiling danced with metallic light. Miss Caroline walked up and down the rows, peering and poking into lunch containers, nodding if the contents pleased her, frowning, remember, like this, right? A little at others. She stopped at Walter Cunningham's desk. "Where's yours?" she asked. Walter Cunningham's face told everybody in the class grade he had hookworms. Okay, this is important, right? Hookworms. What is a hookworm? It's a type of parasite. It's a type of parasite, period. Hookworms usually enter the body through bare feet and move through the body to the small intestines, where they attach themselves with a series of hooks, that's why they call it hookworms, around their mouths. This is disgusting. And then, of course, the disease caused by that is called hookworm as well. That is characterized by anemia, weakness, and abdominal pain. I put a very beautiful picture of some hookworms there, you know. Of course, it's hugely enhanced, so you can see it. It's disgusting. Here in Brazil, of course, we have a similar problem. Hopefully in the past it was much more frequent than now. That is amarelão, or people even call it doença do Jeca tatu. Doença do Jeca. Remember that, if I'm not wrong, Jeca tatu is also a character of Monteiro Lobato, you know, and he would always be anemic, weak, you know, because he had hookworms. So that's why everybody, at the moment they looked at the boy, they knew he had hookworms, right? Walter Cunningham's face told everybody in the first grade he had hookworms. His absence of shoes, see, told us how he got them. People caught hookworms going barefoot in barnyards and hog wallows. I think I didn't put that, but you know, a yarn is that big construction, right? Where the animals are kept. And wallow, remember, is the place where the pigs, you know, the hogs, you know, wallow with mud, shit, and, you know. So people caught hookworms going barefoot in barnyards and hog wallows. If Walter had owned any shoe, he would have worn them the first day of school and then discarded them until midwinter. He did not have on a clean shirt or neatly mended overalls. "Did you forget your lunch this morning?" asked Miss Caroline. Walter looked straight ahead. I saw a muscle jump in his skinny jaw. You know when you are like angry or you are controlling yourself, that you kind of bite your own teeth, right? And then you see the muscle here. "Did you forget it this morning?" asked Miss Caroline. Walter's jaw twitched again. "Yeb'm," he finally mumbled. This yeb'm, actually, you can't find in any dictionary, right? But you can imagine that is a very shortened way of saying yes, ma'am, right? Yeb'm, okay? It can drive a person crazy trying to look up for those expressions. "Yeb'm," he finally mumbled. Miss Caroline went to her desk and opened her purse. "Here's a quarter," she said to Walter. "Go and eat downtown today. You can pay me back tomorrow." Walter shook his head. "Num, thank you, ma'am." It's interesting again, num, you know, you can guess that is no, madam. Num, right? Num, thank you, ma'am. He drawled softly. I put it in our Quizlet there, num, right? And drawl, speak softly with words running together, as you would expect when he says num or yebm, right? Of course, I can't do the accent, all right? I'm very sorry if when I read it, it's not very realistic. Nom, thank you, ma'am, he drawled softly. Impatience crept into Miss Caroline's voice. "Here, Walter, come get it." Walter shook his head again. When Walter shook his head a third time, someone whispered, "Go on and tell her, Scout." I turned around and saw most of the town people and the entire bus delegation looking at me. Miss Caroline and I had conferred twice already, and they were looking at me in the innocent assurance that familiarity breeds understanding. Familiarity breeds understanding, meaning that breed can be, of course, the breed of dog, like poodle, right? But we call breed of dog a breed of cat, because breed is generation, offspring. Okay, so the saying, where's the saying here? Familiarity breeds understanding, meaning that they trusted Scout because she had already, remember, conferred, right? They had already talked, so probably the teacher would understand her. I rose graciously on Walter's behalf. Miss Caroline? What is it, Jean Louise? Miss Caroline, he is a Cunningham. I sat back down. What, Jean Louise? I thought I had made things sufficiently clear. It was clear enough to the rest of us. Walter Cunningham was sitting there, lying his head off. Let me see if I have any. No, my comments will come later on. Okay, so he was sitting there, lying his head off. He didn't forget his lunch. He didn't have any. He had none today, nor would he have any tomorrow or the next day. He had probably never seen 3 quarters together at the same time in his life. Remember, she wanted to lend him a quarter, right? And the Scout is saying here that he has never seen 3 quarters together. And of course, the whole class understood that, right? I tried again. Walter's one of the Cunninghams, Miss Caroline. I beg your pardon, Jean Louise?